What's up, guys? It's Oblivious Gamer here. And, well, today I just wanted to talk about Gundam Breaker. Now, Gundam Breaker 4 was announced like yesterday, or well, depending when you watch this video recently. So there's been a lot of excitement. The series is back. It's looking okay. We are all like hyped because people loved Gundam Breaker 3. However, people despised New Gundam Breaker, which was the last game that was made from the series. However, it seems Bandai is gonna ignore New Gundam Breaker, so that's why like this one is Gundam Breaker 4. So they're kind of like putting it aside and just saying like, okay, we have Gundam Breaker 1, Gundam Breaker 2, Gundam Breaker 3, and Gundam Breaker 4, and we ignore the last one. Because of this, there's actually been a conversation and a lot of debate and back and forth about the developers, because people are saying, oh, who's developing Gundam Breaker 4? Well, the developers are none other than Kraft and Meister. Kraft and Meister has been the developers of Gundam Breaker 1, 2, and 3. However, they are also listed as the developers of New Gundam Breaker, which was the game that was horrible. It sucked. It was bad. It destroyed the Gundam Breaker series. Like, people thought the franchise was dead because of that game. There's been people being like, can we trust them? Well, out of 4 games, 1 is a flop, 3 were good, and the Gundam Breaker 3 was fantastic. So people were like, well, maybe they learned their lesson. New Gundam Breaker had a new engine. They were using Unreal instead of the other engine. I think they were using the Orochi engine, if I'm not mistaken. But that's not just it. There's also been people claiming, saying, well, that Kraft and Meister didn't develop Gundam Breaker. Like, they didn't make Gundam Breaker 3. They just made a new Gundam Breaker. So people have been going left and right at each other because people are like, no, look, it's Kraft and Meister has been developing all the Gundam Breakers games. What the hell are you talking about, my dude? And like, a quick Google search, just putting Gundam Breaker, like you put Gundam Breaker 3 developer, Kraft and Meister would show up. However, what if I tell you that Kraft and Meister aren't the only developers for Gundam Breaker? That there was actually another developer that was there working with Kraft and Meister for the first 3 Gundam Breaker games. Turns out, there was actually another developer that was helping out for the Gundam Breaker series. Gundam Breaker 1, 2, and 3 were not just developed by Kraft and Meister, but were also developed by a studio called Ilinx. If you actually go to Ilinx website, they actually develop a lot of games and they have helped out other companies in other games. So they have like 2 segments. One where they are just listed as collaborators, and the other one where they just list as developers or development. And interestingly enough, Gundam Breaker 1, 2, and 3 are listed. And it says they were literally in charge of general program, general planning, motion, and part of design. So they really had a important part in Gundam Breaker. However, for some reason, Bandai decided not to work with Ilinx again for New Gundam Breaker, and instead just have Kraft and Meister be the developers for New Gundam Breaker. So, quick summary. Turns out Gundam Breaker 1, 2, and 3 had 2 developers. Kraft and Meister probably being the main one, which is why it's listed. However, it seems they got help from Ilinx. And then for New Gundam Breaker, the only developers were Kraft and Meister. Interestingly enough, of course, this can easily make you raise your brow and go, is Kraft and Meister capable of developing a Gundam Breaker game? Because out of 4 games, the 3 that people love, especially Gundam Breaker 3, they were actually being helped out. And I mean, general program, general planning, motion, and part of the design, that's an important aspect. And then for New Gundam Breaker, which was horrible, the game had also a lot of problems. It crashed constantly. Like, I remember my PS4, it just crashed. That one was solely developed by Kraft and Meister, and it didn't turn out that well. Now, I'm not here to say Gundam Breaker 4 is gonna suck. That's not. I'm excited for the game. I'm really looking forward for that game. I'm gonna give it the best shot, because when New Gundam Breaker came out, I tried that game, I finished it, I put hours to be like, I want to try liking this. So I'm gonna do the same with Gundam Breaker 4. I'm not gonna say it sucked. I'm not gonna say companies can learn, like they can change. They can get new staff, they can get new management, they can get new bosses. Like they could change and be better. That's no reason to just assume that this one is gonna suck. But we do have to be honest and kind of look at the pattern and be like, well, the game that they did by themselves wasn't that great. There's still a lot of reasons as to why maybe Bandai took them out, but we don't know. And I don't think they are working, or I don't think Ilinx is working with Gundam Breaker 4. So I think it's just, again, Kraft and Meister. Is there a reason why New Gundam Breaker was the way that it was? Well, I'm assuming the reason, this is just my assumption, they kind of, with New Gundam Breaker, because Gundam Breaker 1, 2, and 3 were never released in the West, they were just in Japan. So for some reason, Japanese companies have this mentality that, oh, the West doesn't get them, the West doesn't get their games. So when they bring something, or a franchise, from Japan to the West, they're like, we have to make it more appealing to the West. We have to change it. We have to. That's why I believe they also went with New Gundam Breaker, because since they're including the West, they want to be like, hey, guys, look at this game. And probably then call it Gundam Breaker 4, because people don't tend to approach it, especially new people. They're like, they look at it and it's like Gundam Breaker 4. And they're just like, hey, do I have to play Gundam Breaker 1, 2, and 3 to be able to get into 4? So my assumption is they went with that thinking, and they're like, oh, let's just call it something different so people would want to approach it, because there's no number there. If you think about it, I think Like a Dragon went with something similar that happened to them. So originally the game is called Yakuza, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. But for the West, they just took out the Yakuza, and instead of calling it Yakuza 8, they're just like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. And then in Japan, it's still called Yakuza. Like, it's just Yakuza 8. I don't want to get into the particulars for that game, but you see what I'm saying, where like sometimes companies go, oh, let's just remove this and remove the number so it's easier and more appealing for the Western audience or new consumers so they don't feel it's daunting. That's at least my theory. Obviously, I don't know why Kraft and Meister was just brought by themselves for the development, but I feel they were trying to do something new and appeal more to the West to show them and be like, oh, look, this is something that like you guys haven't had before, but in Japan, we have this series going on, and it was bad. But yeah, that's all that I wanted to talk about, guys. As always, feel free to leave your thoughts down below. This has been Oblivious Gamer, and I hope you'll have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.